Hello, welcome to Wega Achiever Educational Limited. Presenting, we are tutors, trusted for brain-friendly impact learning. Today, we'll be continuing from where we stopped in our previous class under cell biology. But this time around, we'll be talking about specialized cells which are present in the human body and specialized cells which are present in plants. And after that, we'll look at some past questions and answer them effectively with the knowledge we have in specialized cells. Thank you. So, specialized cells. What are specialized cells? Now, before talking about specialized cells, one thing you should know is that all cells start as an unspecialized, like the stem cells. Now, what is not specialized cells? Specialized cells have adapted structures to perform specific functions, and the process in which these cells become specialized is called differentiation. So, during differentiation process, cell becomes what? A specialized cell. And there are various types of specialized cells in plants and animals. Firstly, let's talk about specialized cells in animals. Examples of specialized cells in animals or types of specialized cells in animals include the following, which are the red blood cell, the nerve cell, the muscle cells, the sperm cell, the egg cell, etc. There are many more, but we'll be having our focus on the specialized cells that have been listed earlier. So, starting with the red blood cell. What is the red blood cell? The red blood cell is a specialized cell which is present in the human body. It flows around the body to distribute oxygen to the tissues. Now, the main function of the red blood cell is to transport oxygen from the lungs to the tissues and organs of the body. Now, here is the structure of the red blood cell. Now, let's describe the structure of the red blood cell. The red blood cell, also known as the erythrocytes, you should know that the other name for the red blood cell is erythrocytes, are small, biconcave, and lack a nucleus in matured cells, which simply means matured red blood cells do not possess nucleus, and they are the most abundant cells in the blood. You should take note of that also. And seeing the structure, you can see it made up of cytoplasm and the central part of it, which contains the hemoglobin. And note that the hemoglobin, which is present in the red blood cell, is what enables them to trap oxygen and transport them to the tissues where they are needed. I haven't talked about that. Let's talk about the adaptation of the red blood cell to its environment. As you can see, these are the properties of the red blood cells that enable them adapt to the environment and also perform their function effectively. And firstly, on our list, we'll be talking about the biconcave shape. This increases the surface area for oxygen exchange. The larger the surface area, the more oxygen can diffuse into the cell. No nucleus, this provides more space for hemoglobin to carry oxygen. This provides more space for hemoglobin to carry oxygen. I won't talk about that. Let's talk about the hemoglobin. Now, you should know that the hemoglobin which is present in the red blood cell is a red pigment, and it gives the red blood cell its color. Take note of that. The hemoglobin enables the red blood cell to appear red in nature. So, what is the major function of hemoglobin? Hemoglobin has great affinity for oxygen. Hence, when it comes in contact with oxygen, it binds with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. Now, in this process, it's able to transport oxygen around the body and to the tissues where they are needed. Now, I haven't talked about that. Let's talk about the small and flexibility of the red blood cell. Due to the fact that the red blood cell is small and flexible, they can squeeze through tiny capillaries easily so that they can be able to transport oxygen. And lastly, the tiny membranes which are present in the red blood cell. These tiny membranes also help them to diffuse oxygen in a short distance. So, those are the adaptation of the red blood cell. In addition to all of this, you should also note that the red blood cells are made in the bone marrow, and they have a lifespan of about 128 days. And also, old red blood cells are removed by the liver and spleen. Next on our list is nerve cell, which are also called neurons. What are nerve cells? You should know that nerve cells are adapted to carry electrical impulses rapid from one part of the body to another. They are found in the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. You should also know that the nerve cells are also referred to as the neurons, and the neurons are the basic functional units of the nervous system. The nerve cells are mostly found in the nervous coordinate system, which has to do with the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. But that will be discussed in our later class, where we are talking about response and homeostasis. Now, I haven't talked about that. What's nerve cells? Like I said earlier, nerve cells are adapted to carry electrical impulses rapid from one part of the body to another, and majorly found in the brain, spinal cords, and nerves. Now, there are types of neurons. What are the types of neurons? You have the sensory neurons, motor neurons, and the relay neurons. But now let's talk about the sensory neurons. The sensory neurons carries messages from the receptors to the CNS, the full meaning of the CNS, like I mentioned earlier, the central nervous system. While the motor neurons carries messages from the CNS to the effectors. What are effectors? The muscles. Now, like I said earlier, CNS simply means what? The central nervous system. And you also have the relay neurons. The relay neurons disconnects the sensory neurons and the motor neuron in the central nervous system. I haven't talked about that, so now let's move to the structure of the neuron. Now, structure of the neuron. Here are parts of the nerve cells, which include the dendrites, the nucleus, the axon, the nerve ending, the cytoplasm, and the cell membrane. Now, we'll be talking about how the nerve cell is adapted to its functions also, we should be looking at. So, there it is. How the nerve cell is adapted to its function. Number one, long axon, which is a tail-like structure. This carries impulses over long distance without needing many synapses. It helps in fast transmission. Branched dendrites. This connects with many other nerve cells from a network. The myelin sheath. This is a fatty layer that insulates the axon and speed up the impulses transmission. And loss of mitochondria. The loss of mitochondria provides energy needed to make neurotransmitters for signals transfer at synapses. Now, the word synapses is simply the space between two neurons, meaning the space between two neurons is referred to as what? Synapses. Thank you very much. And after this, the next on our list will be muscle cells. Muscle cells are also known as myocytes. They are specialized cells that enable movements, and they have three types majorly, which are skeletal, cardiac, and smooth. So, as we all know, skeletal muscle cells are responsible for voluntary movements, while cardiac muscle cells are found in the heart and are responsible for pumping blood. And the smooth muscle cells are responsible for involuntary movements, like those in the digestive system, meaning the smooth muscles are found in the digestive tract. Thank you very much. In addition, here is the structure of the types of muscle cells. You can see the heart muscle cells are present there, the smooth muscle cells, and the skeletal muscle cells. I haven't talked about that. Now, you should also know that the muscle cells are specialized to contract and relax, enabling movement in the body. They are found in the skeletal muscles, the hearts, the internal organs. So take note of that. Now let's talk about the adaptations of muscle cells. Firstly, let's talk about the long and thin shape. This can help them contract and shorten easily. After that, let's talk about the large amount of mitochondria they contains. These mitochondria help to provide energy in form of ATP, or ATP, the full meaning adenosine triphosphate, which is needed for contraction. After that, they also contain specialized proteins, and these specialized proteins help them to slide past each other to make muscle contracts. And also, they can store glycogen, which is a form of glucose for respiration to release energy. I haven't discussed about that of the muscle cells, so let's talk about the sperm cell. The sperm cells. The sperm cell is specialized to deliver male genetic material, which is the DNA, to the female egg cells during fertilization. During fertilization process, the sperm reaches the egg in the fallopian tube of the female, and enzymes in the acrosomes, which is present in the head of the sperm, breaks down the egg outer layer, and one sperm fuses with the egg, and the nuclei combine and a zygote is formed, which is diploid. You should note that the sperm cell contains an haploid numbers of chromosomes, and the egg cell also contains an haploid numbers of chromosomes. What are haploid? Meaning half of the total chromosome present in the human body. If human has a total of 46 chromosomes, which simply means the sperm cell have 23, which makes it haploid, and the egg cell also have 23, which makes it haploid. Now, the fusion of this sperm cell and egg cell together during fertilization to form a zygote leads to the production of a diploid, which should now have a total of 46 chromosomes. And you should also know that the sperm cells are produced in the testes, and millions are made each day, and they are very much smaller than the egg cells and highly mobile when compared to the egg cells. So thank you very much. I haven't said that, so let's talk about the structure of the sperm cell and how it looks like. And as you can see, this is the structure of the sperm cell, and this is how it looks. You can see the head, the middle piece, and the tail, divided into three distinct parts. Adaptation of the sperm cell. Let's talk about the long tail. The long tail enables the sperm cell to swim towards the egg, and according to the structure shown there, the middle piece, which contains the mitochondria, provides energy for the movement via respiration. And as for the acrosomes, which is present in the head of the sperm, this contains enzymes which digest the membrane of the egg cells during fertilization. As for the haploid nucleus, like I said, carries half of the numbers of chromosomes, which is 23 in humans, and to combines with the egg cell, which is also 23, and in total, after combining with the egg cell, forms the total number of 46 chromosomes. Let's talk about the streamlined shape of the sperm. This makes it easier to move quickly through the fluids present in the female vagina during fertilization. Next on our list will be the egg cell, which is also called the ovum. What are egg cells? The egg cells carries the female's genetic material and is specialized to be fertilized by a sperm cell. Now, after fertilization, it provides nutrients for the developing embryo, which is called the zygote. And you should also know that the egg cells are produced in the ovaries, and they travel through the fallopian tubes, where fertilization usually happens when they come in contact with the sperm cell. Adaptations of egg cells. 1. They have large size and round shape. These provide a big target for sperm to reach. Cytoplasm contains nutrients, which feeds the embryo after fertilization. Haploid nucleus, which I also stated in the under sperm cell while I was explaining sperm cell, contains 23 chromosomes. After fusing with sperm cell, they form a total of 46 chromosomes. And cell membrane, which prevents other sperm from entering. That's polyspermy. And follicle cells around the egg, and these support and protect the eggs as it travels. Now, structure of the egg cell. Here is the view on the structure of the egg cell and how it looks like. Now, time to answer questions from the AQA, Gcse past question, and see how far we've gone in our study under specialized cells. Now, here are the questions. The first question goes like this. Cells can be specialized for a particular job. The diagram shows the structure of a human sperm cell. It has been revealed as a sperm cell, so I think this is way too easy. Describe how long the tail and the mitochondria helps the sperm cell to do its job. Very simple. Okay, as for the long tail, the tail or the flagellum is responsible for propelling the sperm towards the egg, enabling it to swim through the female reproductive tract. That is to say, the sperm tail helps in moving the sperm forward so that it can be able to swim through the female reproductive tract in order to go fertilize the egg. As for the mitochondria, which is located in the midpiece of the sperm, provides the energy needed for the tail's movements, allowing the sperm to swim. So, as easy as that. Thank you. That's the first question. As for the second question, the image below shows some moxo cells from the walls of the stomach as seen through a light microscope. As easy as that. They said describe the function of the moxo cells in the walls of the stomach. This is way too easy. The primary function of the moxo cells in the stomach wall is to contract and relax, churning food and mixing it with digestive juice. That's just the major function. Help to mix food with digestive juice because it consists of smooth muxus, and this helps it to perform its job effectively. Thank you very much. I see you in my next class on specialized plant cells. Thank you for joining Regativa Educational Limited. Thank you very much. See you in my next class. Bye.